The moment his opponent played the first move, his pulse stalled. It was Berlin, 2020-21, humidity clinging to the windows of the quiet tournament hall, and Jonas Hartmann stared at the chessboard like he'd seen a ghost. Knight to f3, a rare sideline. One nobody in this bracket normally touched. He had just beaten someone using that exact line yesterday. The clicking clock ticked beside him, its steady cadence like a heartbeat. Jonas's mind scrambled. Coincidence? Preparation? Or something stranger? The second move came, identical. The third, exact. The sequence unfolded with eerie precision, like déjà vu scripted into wood and ivory. Across from him, his opponent sat calm, unreadable. Jonas swallowed, replaying yesterday's game in his head. He knew where the line led, a pitfall he barely escaped. Was this a repeat? Or a trap? He countered piece by piece, muscle memory guiding him. The tension built. A few spectators leaned in, sensing the storm beneath the silence. Jonas won, but barely. When he shook his opponent's hand, he wondered if he'd been lucky or outmaneuvered. He brushed it off until the next round. Different player, same string of rare opening moves. Jonas froze again. He felt heat rise at the back of his neck. Coincidences don't repeat themselves this perfectly. Yet the moves unfolded like scripted déjà vu, once more, pawn for pawn, knight for knight. His hands shook softly as he mirrored his previous defense. Again, a narrow win. Again, the same moment of disbelief as he stared into the eyes of someone who seemed just as puzzled as he was. By the time the third day arrived, Jonas barely slept. He walked into the hall under a ceiling of industrial lights, watching the boards glimmer like tiny worlds. When his new opponent arrived, someone he'd never met, Jonas braced himself. The clock started. Knight to f3. His jaw tightened, pawn to d5. Another echo of the past 48 hours. Piece by piece, move by move, the same uncanny script played out a third time. He was no longer just playing chess, he was wrestling with reality. Why him? Why this line? What was the universe trying to say? The turning point came mid-game when he remembered something his coach once muttered. Patterns appear to those prepared to see them, but meaning only comes when you respond differently. So he did. He deviated, boldly, fearlessly, and the board shifted like a landscape cracking open. His opponent faltered, surprised. Within minutes, the tide turned. Jonas delivered checkmate with a clarity and calm he hadn't felt in years. As applause murmured around him, he looked at the board and finally understood. Sometimes life repeats itself not to haunt you, but to challenge you, to see if you've learned. So he smiled, packed his pieces, and walked out into Berlin's cool evening air, no longer unsettled, but sharpened. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe to help the channel grow.